Lunchtime update, Cassie on the stand, her first day of cross-examination. And I don't want to say it's super intense because Diddy's lawyer, Anna Estevea, she's doing an amazing job at being very gentle. I mean, Cassie and her have exchanged a few laughs while she was on the stand, which I thought was pretty incredible. And additionally, there's a lot of explicit graphic text that we're seeing from Cassie to Diddy and vice versa. And Estevea is saying, look, if you don't want to read these, you don't have to, which I thought was really nice. Also, when Cassie answers and it's kind of a yes or no question, Estevea isn't like, it's yes or no. She's being very, very calm and very kind. Now, what we saw like right off the bat here was a conversation via BlackBerry between Diddy and Cassie about 2.5 years into their relationship. And remember, at this point, Cassie testified during direct that he had abused her. She didn't want to do freak offs, you know, all this stuff. And she actually said that he said, you know, I miss you already. When do you want to FO? That was Diddy. And she said, I'm always ready to FO. And again, this was August of 2009, about 2 years into their relationship. They talk about when it would be best for them. And then they talk about getting an escort involved. And then we see a text message that says, I can't wait to stare at your BBD. You guys know what I'm talking about. And again, lawyer did not make her say it out loud. There's, a lot of explicit text messages.
Here are the text messages. Diddy is in gray, Cassie in blue. I miss you already. Me too. When do you want to do the freak off? LOL. I'm just going up to change. I'm always ready to freak off. You tell me the day. You choose. It can be whenever. Name the night. And then he says it again. I feel like the weekend and Friday night would be best, so we'll want time to recover for the work week. This upcoming weekend is the only one I have until the 28th. Okay, I'm on it. But if you can't, we can always do it during the week. You know that doesn't matter to me. Friday it is. I wish we could get Jules here. LOL. Maybe we could. We don't know him that well. Want to call him and fill him out? I can do that. So basically, Cassie, I guess she called Jules to invite him over to get the little freaky deaky going on. You know what I'm saying? Man, I just see them two just being big freaks. Yes, he did domestic violence, beat her and drugged her up and things like that. This is crazy.
Look, I think some of the takeaways here at what the defense is doing and what they're eliciting out of Cassie is, again, the email saying she loves him after these FOs. And don't get mad at me. Don't tell me, you know, I understand how trauma works, but I'm just relaying all this to you guys. So Cassie testified that she had to do freak offs during her period. And we were shown an email where Diddy, for FO planning purposes, asks her when she's getting her period, and she says she's skipping it that month. Additionally, she testified that she didn't want to be a swinger because she didn't want to see him with another woman. Well, we see an exchange where she says she has a fantasy about seeing him with another woman, and I'm paraphrasing here.
So she wanted to see him with another woman. Man, they were just a couple and just wanted to be freaky.
She also says at one point that, quote, she'd travel anywhere to be with him. And this is while they are discussing an FO in this one message, this BlackBerry message. Another big thing here is the drug talk and the opioid talk. So Cassie testified that Diddy told her he was addicted to opioids. And the defense is basically saying, well, did you see him try to get off these opioids or come down from them? And she said, yeah. And then they said, well, you know, that makes one volatile, angry. And again, I'm paraphrasing, but basically what they were alluding to is that Diddy's violent behavior and aggressive behavior and all of his mood swings that she talked about were because he was coming down from opioids. Let me make sure. I feel like I have so many notes from today. Again, a lot of graphic messages, mainly about Cassie saying how much she liked it after it happened. It was so good, and she's talking about FOs. Oh, something really big that they're trying to prove here. Cassie felt like she didn't have the words to relate to Diddy because she was so young, that she didn't want to do this and yada yada, referring to the FOs. Well, we've seen a lot of messages from Cassie to Diddy that are paragraphs, let's say, explaining certain things to him, really seeming to wear her heart on her sleeve. At one point she said, look, I'm unsure about the FOs because I feel like, you know, before when we were doing them, and this is a few years into their relationship, she said, you know, before we were doing them, I could spend time with you after. Now we're doing them and you're leaving right away for work, and I'm not getting that time with you. So the defense is kind of like, well, it looks like she's able to communicate this stuff. And is it fair to say that this is the reason that you didn't want to do freak offs? Not everything that you testified yesterday. Again, don't get mad at me. I'm just explaining about what the defense's strategy seems to be and what they're going for. Oh, they also went into the fact that, look, you testified that it would take you days to come down from these FOs, and you would waste so much time of your life trying to recover. You know, Diddy was doing the same thing. He was coming down from these too. You know, is it fair to say that he was still running a business, running the world, running his own life, running Bad Boy Records and traveling here and there, basically saying, well, you know, he was fine. He didn't have to recover for days. That's your problem. Again, just some observations. Cassie doing a great job holding it together, so calm, so poised. And Anna Estevea, really great. I mean, a lot of defense attorneys can badger these witnesses and really come across unlikable to the jury. But like I said, they're sharing laughs. They, you know, she's not too aggressive. She's getting her point across without being a jerk. So I will give you guys more later. And I mean, you're probably going to see it printed on TMZ, everywhere else, but these text messages are so graphic. And I just feel so bad for Cassie because she was so young, and to have her sex life just plastered, you know, on these big screens and of course across the media world. Crazy. Oh, we also saw this morning in line, we saw her brother walk in. Her husband is not in the courtroom because he can't be, because he may be called as a witness and they're getting into some things that he shouldn't hear. But he was here yesterday. But anyway, more later.
They keep saying that she was young. She was what, 22? At that age, you know right from wrong. You know what I'm saying? They just keep trying to make her a victim sometimes. I mean, yeah, she got beat, which is messed up. Yeah, let them go to jail for that. But the whole thing's supposed to be about what? The sex trafficking, RICO, and everything. When they get into that? Because all y'all are doing is exposing how freaky they were. You know what I'm saying? How much they love doing these freak offs with these male escorts. And how he just basically using her for sex slaves and all that.
Afternoon cross-examination. I'll just give you some highlights here, not everything. We saw the defense elicit testimony from Cassie where she admitted to being jealous of Kim Porter and Diddy's relationship. We saw an email from Cassie to Diddy where she basically said, and I'm paraphrasing, she wants to be more than a sexual fantasy to him. And she started this email off by saying, I know you think that you're Bruce Willis, but you're not, because he was on a vacation with Kim Porter and they weren't together at the time. They were with their kids. She was referencing Demi and Bruce. So we saw that. We saw some jealousy. We saw some jealousy also with Gina Hun. And they didn't say her last name. I just know she's a fitness influencer, I think. And there's also been rumor that Gina is the lost victim or survivor that they haven't been able to get in touch with. Don't quote me on that. It's a rumor. It's not fact. We also saw something really interesting. We saw an exchange between Diddy and Cassie where he asks her, they're role playing during these freak offs, and I'm paraphrasing, but he essentially asks her if she's cool with everything, kind of making sure, like, are you comfortable with everything? Kind of like, tell me now if you're not. And she says she is. We also learned about Cassie's relationship with Michael B. Jordan in 2015 when she was in South Africa filming a movie. And they centered a lot of the afternoon around Cassie's drug use and how she hid a lot of her drug use from Diddy, so he wasn't aware of a lot of it. The defense would say, well, he was angry with you for doing so many drugs, and he was angry when you would do them with your friends. And then Cassie kind of shot back, and she's like, no, he was angry because I did the drugs without him. And Cassie, by the way, she amazes me. I mean, she's 8.5 months pregnant. We've seen so many graphic text messages from her, so embarrassing and humiliating for the world to see. And she's just so calm, so poised, so collected. And again, it helps that the defense attorney is not badgering her. Nicole Estevea is not badgering her. Super patient. She lets Cassie kind of explain, and I mentioned that earlier. There were three things. I think 2 things maybe could be considered impeachment. Sorry, I can't talk. One was the fact that Cassie had testified that she saw Diddy hit her friend on the head with a wooden hanger, her friend Carrie Morgan. Well, it turns out Cassie was in the bathroom for this, she testified, and she didn't see it, but she heard it. And additionally, this ended Cassie and Carrie's friendship, and Carrie sued Diddy and Cassie actually paid her out in a settlement, taking some kind of culpability. And the defense was like, well, this is 2018. I thought you and Diddy weren't together. Why would this end your friendship if you guys weren't together and he did this? And then she sued both of you. So that was interesting. And then the whole balcony dangling thing, sorry, it's loud, with her friend Bana. Cassie said she saw this, and she was sleeping, and she woke up. She testified during direct. Well, the defense pulled up a text message that Cassie sent to Christina Coram, Diddy's chief of staff, after this happened. And the text message said, and we didn't see it, this was not shown to us. And I think this was part of the argument about the discovery this morning, because a lot of people's names are mentioned, whatever. So we didn't see it, but it allegedly said, I just heard something crazy happened, meaning like she may not have seen it. Mm-hmm. Cassie said, I saw what I saw. She stuck with it, but it wasn't the best look, in my opinion. And then they pulled up a transcript from when she had told the government about the incident with the security guard D-Rock and Diddy going to see Suge Knight, packing up all those guns. And they're like, Ms. Ventura, did you or did you not say that that you were in the car crying when they were when they were going to see Suge? Did you not tell the government that? And she's like, what? I don't think I said that. Like, I'm not sure. She read a transcript that we couldn't see, and she goes, oh, maybe there was a miscommunication. So I was like, oh, that's not great. But, whatever, fine. Again, we also heard about Diddy having an overdose in 2012, an opioid overdose after going to a party at the Playboy Mansion. And Cassie talked a lot about how they would try to detox. They would try, to do less drugs. They never made it to rehab together per se. They did do some kind of plant in Mexico. It was something illegal to help them detox. And she said it did work for some time, but then they got back into the whole, habits that they had, old habits with freak offs and whatnot. I'm looking at my notes just to make sure I didn't, again, really broad overview here. But yeah, they're setting the stage here, the foundation, I guess, the defense as well, just to say that, Cassie was jealous. She was in love with him, and she wanted to make him happy. We heard that a lot. Yeah. And again, really hammered away at her drug use. Let me see. Do you remember telling the prosecutors that you... Yeah, sorry. I'm reading my notes. It's so hard. It's so hard. Okay, the last thing. I brought this up earlier where they are trying to put just some culpability on Diddy they're trying to say that Diddy was going through withdrawals through a lot of his violent episodes. And so we see some text messages towards the end of the day, 2 days before the Intercontinental Hotel incident, where Diddy is sick. And they're trying to say that, yeah, he's going through these withdrawal symptoms leading up to the fact that's why he was so angry at the hotel and blah, 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 and that's why he beat you. I mean, that's not really an excuse, but but this is what's going on. Again, overall, from, an outside perspective, the defense is doing their job. it's day 4. I think this is going to be a really long trial. I mean, a lot of people are saying that Cassie is the star witness here. I don't necessarily agree with that, because I don't think that Cassie is going to prove a lot of these federal charges. I mean, she talked about the escorts a lot. That's helpful, and them crossing state lines and getting paid to do these things in different cities. But I think she's just the foundational witness. I really do. I think that the most important witnesses are going to be the people that worked for Diddy.
What do y'all think of this whole situation? I think it's getting crazy. It's probably going to get even more crazier once they keep bringing more witnesses and keep bringing up stuff. But Diddy's team is not here to play. And they going to expose a lot of stuff. And as you see, they pulling out text messages and everything, showing that you was down for all the freak offs. So I guess we're going to play this out. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and I'll be back again, alright?